Hey up, it's all got a bit chaotic with Civ 7 recently, hasn't it? And the current roadmap for Civ 7's DLC is coming to an end this month. So what does the magical period of October and beyond have in store for Civilization 7? Could it even be a major DLC? Today we are gonna talk all about it. If you're new here, I'm Alex, I'm a proud Yorkshireman who makes Civ videos like this all of the time. Let's get into it. The devs are always reminding us about how they listen to player feedback, especially the feedback of this guy, by the way, who seems to have caused the whole Civ switching thing. Yeah, I saw your comment. Look what you've done. So it makes sense to start our journey finding out what you guys want to see. Because if we ask by this logic, surely we'll get right. But anyway, I asked you, what do you want to see most for the future of Civ 7? And you lot genuinely surprised me. I fully expected balance and fixes to top the list and get more than the 10% of the vote than it actually did. Now maybe that's because it's boringly worded, like I'll have to take the blame on that one, but it seems like there's actually a hunger for new ways to play Civ 7 and new major pieces of Civ 7 content. Over 25% of the vote went to the idea of either a 4th age or a new victory type, and maybe not that surprisingly, 60% of the vote went to a so-called classic mode. If you're unfamiliar with this, essentially a classic mode is the idea of a separate game mode where we can play through a game of Civ 7 as just one civilization. Like revolutionary thinking, right? But when you look at everything, these are the kind of things that traditionally we would get in a major expansion like Rise and Fall or Gathering Storm. But is that likely for Civ 7 at this stage? This question of whether a major DLC is imminent is quite an interesting one, because I watched a video by Civ House, another Civ YouTuber. I'll try and link the video down in the description if I remember. But they were saying that they think that a major DLC will come out this year, and I was watching it and thinking, I just don't see it that way. Now, I've been wrong before, don't get me wrong, but there's a few things I believe tell us that it's not going to happen. So if we look to the past, Civ 6 had a near enough 18-month gap between release in October 2016 and the release of Rise and Fall, its first major expansion, in February 2018. Civ 7 is like just over 6 months old, like we're nowhere near that kind of time period in the game's life cycle yet. Now I guess you could say that some things change and the landscape of the gaming industry's changed and there's more pressure now for games to sell DLC quicker, but not everything's changed. A major piece of DLC is still going to be a ton of work. Because of the sheer state of crap Civ 7 was launched in, they have already spent what must be a ton of resources trying to get the game to where it should have been on day one. We've had so many fixes and patches, and they keep telling us that there's even more to come. In fact, according to the boss of Take-Two, the most meaningful revisions are still to come. So I just don't see how they've got capacity to develop such a major expansion at this point, and that's only going to be made worse by the recent layoffs at Firaxis, which will definitely have hurt their capacity to develop DLC and will definitely have an impact on how much DLC and how quickly we get it for the game. Do you know what else? Releasing a major DLC right now for Civ 7 would be a terrible idea. Now, despite you saying that you want some of the huge changes I mentioned earlier, when I actually asked you if you'd welcome a major expansion, 80% of you said no. Part of me thinks, were you just trying to confuse me? It's very easily done. If you were, I fully respect it. But the general feeling I get from the community is that before any major expansion comes, before they ask us for money again, they need to get this game in a much better state, and that is going to take time. In fact, I'd say that asking players to pay for another major expansion right now will go down about as well as my insistence of talking like Tony Soprano every time I meet my girlfriend's family. Does anybody else think he'd be really good in Civ, by the way? Here are two images. What do you see? Now I know that some of you will say that these look like the first steps into the wonderful sort of utopia for any video game publisher that enjoys making money through content which you buy before you even know what it is, microtransactions, and pay to win. Others may say simply that these are roadmaps, Alex. Now, I think you could argue both, but this is actually how Civilization has dipped its little toe into this new world of DLC, and it's the format that has dominated DLC for Civ games post Civilization 6 Gathering Storm. A roadmap is pretty much the answer to the question that I set out at the start of this video: what comes next for Civ 7? It will be a roadmap with free updates. It will also likely be a roadmap with DLC for new leaders, civs, wonders, and maybe even stuff like game modes, but it will not be, in my opinion, a major DLC. I mean, if they release a major DLC at this point, they might as well punch themselves in the face. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to see more of our content, check out the video on screen now, and I'll catch you soon.